Hello, everybody, and welcome to Play Some Video / Board Games, the only gaming podcast making proper use of a 20-sided die. We thank you for tuning in each and every week and spending a little bit of time with us. It is I, your host, Kevin. With me this week is Kyle. Sir, how are we doing?
I am excellent and super stoked to be on a podcast again. This is great.
I know it's been a while. And somebody who has been on every single podcast in like the last 2 months, Josh is here again. Josh, how are we doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'll keep doing this as long as we don't get any hate mail.
Oh no, we get the hate mail. We just need that third person on. No, we don't worry about it. But as you guessed tonight, since it's the three of us, most likely we're talking about board games, and that is the subject of tonight. So if you're not interested, just hang up right now. Don't watch. It's fine. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hi, welcome. We're trying to do this thing live for the first time ever. But yeah, we want to talk about Tabletop Games Day, which is coming up, and then it's just been a while since we talked about board games. So we wanted to revisit that tonight. But before we do, it's time to do our weekly check-in and let everybody know what we've been playing, what we've been up to. Kyle, let's go with you first, since you've been the longest and you probably have the most to talk about.
So, Kevin, something I think you'll be really thrilled about.
You got G Fuel.
No, I did not get G Fuel. I am drinking the original G Fuel coffee out of this, if you could on the YouTube, this beautiful flowered mug. It's quite fantastic. Coffee at 9:30 at night, whatever. But anyway,
you guys are crazy. You guys are nuts.
But anyway, if you've been listening for a while, you may remember that not too long ago, maybe a while ago at this point, Kevin and I did a review cast for this little game called Virginia.
Oh yeah.
And I had left Virginia on my hard drive because I at some point was like, I want to go back and get this platinum trophy. I'm so close to it. I really want to go back and do it. And a couple nights ago, I had a ton of things to play, none of which were calling to me. So I said, you know what? Let's finish this platinum up. So I played another playthrough of Virginia in about an hour and a half.
Wow.
And got that platinum done. So I kind of just burned through it. I had, here and there been kind of reading guides and things like that about what I had missed. So I knew exactly what I needed to do. But burned through that. And, even on a second playthrough, good. I still don't totally know what was going on.
Does it make any more sense this time around? But no,
I think it does make a bit more sense, but not in the way that I could sit down and explain to someone what the huge plot that Virginia is. Still worth a play, especially if you can, if you're into those story-based games with no dialogue at all. It's a good time. The music in that game, though, is phenomenal. I forgot how good the music in that game was. I'm actually going to have to see if I can pick up that soundtrack because it's very, very good.
I believe it can.
Oh, perfect. Well, there we go. So we'll go back. So I went back and did that. In addition, the wife and I have been working our way through the Lego Harry Potter collection, years 1 through 4. She's a big Harry Potter fan. I enjoy Harry Potter. She enjoys playing video games when we play games like Lego Harry Potter. So we've been working our way through that very slowly but surely. We played the first time we actually played this game was on the Wii, and she loved it on the Wii, and I hated it on the Wii because I thought the controls were horrible. The screen was super dark all the time. Like I had to boost the brightness on my television super high to be able to see things. And she now is like, the controls in this are stupid. I don't understand how things are supposed to go. But we, after a half hour of kind of fiddling through things, we're making good progress now. So still a good game. I mean, it is what it was. It's another Lego game. But if you enjoy Harry Potter, this is also having them talk. So everything is just like noises, which I forgot about. So that is kind of interesting, again, going to a Lego game and having nobody actually say words.
That's right.
But working on that, started Persona 5 as well. We've had some conversations in our Slack chat about that. Some of us are enjoying it more than others. I think the hard thing, I haven't had a ton of time
Donnie.
I haven't had a ton of time to play games. Donnie bought another Vita just for this so you could do remote play, which is pretty sweet. But I haven't had a ton of time to play Persona 5 or games in general, even though I have a ton of games on my list. Probably only about 10 hours in. But I'm enjoying it. I think it's great. I mean, most people have talked about how stylish the game is, and it is extremely stylish. But if you enjoy a really solid JRPG, I recommend it. If there's a lot of concern about the time management, the date management, and all of those good things. And it's a daunting game. And I think some folks on the team were like, I don't know if this is for me. And it might not be. Like, I think this game is expertly made. It is I think a hallmark of this style of game. But that doesn't mean everyone's going to like it. So if you have not tried it or have tried it and don't like it, that's okay. I mean, I think it's still a pretty solid game, though. Still trying to muddle my way through Nier Automata as well. That game is so good. And like, I look at all these games on my darn playlist, and there are so many good games that I just don't have time to get all this stuff done. I'm hoping, I was going to pick up Prey. I'm probably not going to now just because I have too much to play. I was probably going to pick up Injustice 2. Probably not going to now just because I have too much to play. I know, I agree. I really am looking forward to that. But, with how much I have to going on and how much I have to play, especially rolling into summer now, which hopefully I'll be more time outside and stuff. I don't have time to play all this stuff. So still working on that. Still in the evening, still working on the Donnery games on my Vita. That's still a fantastic time. And I think that's the most of what I've been playing video game wise. For the board game side, since we are talking about board games tonight, I have started playing Mystic Vale quite a bit. I really wish I would have picked this game up sooner. This game is phenomenal. It's a card crafting game, so you actually have, instead of a deck building, you always have 20 cards in your deck, but you're adding different parts to your cards as you're going through the game. So the cards are actually, as being demonstrated here by Josh for us, as you're going through the game, the cards that you can buy new parts of cards that are just clear plastic. So you slide them into sleeves, and the cards end up kind of building themselves. So you'll have a top, middle, and a bottom, and you can build these super, super powerful decks. And it's a ton of fun. There are expansions for it. I haven't gotten either one of them yet, but one of them comes out actually probably this week even. A new one came out. But yes, Josh is demonstrating for us again the way the cards look. So they're really awesome. It's a cool
Hold on, Josh, hold on. Bring it up to the camera closer. I just put you on the big screen.
So you just take all those cards, and then, like I said, there's some that just have a middle, some that just have a top, and you kind of build those together. And like I said, you always have 20 cards in your deck. It gets, I don't want to say broken, but kind of broken at some points. I built a deck so that I could go through my entire deck every time it was my turn, which can be kind of frustrating for the people you're playing, because it's like, hey, I'm going to put all this stuff out and buy all the super, super good stuff, and now this is going to be fantastic. So if you are able to kind of grok the system pretty quick when you're playing against new people, or if you start playing at the same time, it can get a little unbalanced right away. But overall, it's a fantastic game. I highly, highly recommend Mystic Vale. If you enjoy card games, deck building games, any style game like that, I really, really highly recommend it. And I've been going on forever, so I'm done now with what I've been playing.
I'm done. I guess I'll go next then. I really don't have much at all. I've just been way too busy with work at the new job and stuff. So unfortunately, I've pretty much been limited to just my Switch. So continuing on Lego City Undercover, I mentioned in the last podcast, it's a lot better than it was in the Wii U version. Load times are still a little long compared to most games now, but it's a lot less annoying, and it really doesn't bother me because the loads aren't that often. So it's not like in the previous version of the game, it used to be where somebody would, you leave a room and it would go to a loading screen and take forever. Now it's more like, okay, anytime you need to enter a building, it might load, or you go to this other part of the map, it might load, but it's nowhere near as often. So that's good. It's well written. It's still very, very funny. It does have voice acting, so it's a lot better than the Harry Potter ones. And but yeah, it's definitely cool, and it's filling in the gap between Legend of Zelda and then the game I'll be playing tomorrow, which is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Is already shipped via Amazon Prime, so I'll have it in my grubby little paws tomorrow, and I'll be playing along with 12 other podcasts in our indie network we got going on.
I think it's 20 podcasts that are involved in that. I swear, I think I saw the logo and it's 20.
That is crazy. So yeah, we'll be playing with that. Unfortunately, Donnie started some trash talking and lumped us all into it. But it's all in good fun. So definitely, probably by the time you listen to this, it already happened. But be on the lookout for more of those down the line, and join us for more of those. We're doing, I guess, a racing tournament and a battle mode tournament. So ought to be interesting. I'll be playing with my girls. So looking forward to that. Other than that, I got nothing going on. Those two games will probably be all I'm playing right up until Injustice in a couple weeks. So I am downloading the Prey demo though, because I've heard a lot of good things from that. So that's downloading overnight tonight. Hopefully I can play it tomorrow morning. We shall see. But that's it for me. So Josh, what are you up to?
On the game front, I downloaded, I think I want to call it Kimiko. Is that how it's pronounced on the Switch?
I think so.
For $5, and from what I played so far, super worth it. Very much like Zelda: Link to the Past, games like that. Fun. I know Jason's played finished one playthrough. I think you said it's almost 2 hours. For one playthrough, they give you 3 characters. You get like a girl with a sword, a girl with a bow and arrow, and then a girl with a dagger and a shield. So you get 3 different playthroughs right off the bat, and I guess you unlock more once you complete it. Totally worth the $5 investment. And I'm excited to play some more of it tonight. I did have some more video games. I'll leave them. I'll skip them for now. I did pick up Mystic Vale. I haven't played it yet. I have been playing, though, on my phone, a game called Patchworks, which is awesome. It's so good that we ended up buying a physical copy. It's a 2-player only game. If you look at it on its face, it's probably not going to seem super appealing to most people because it's basically a game where you're building a quilt between 2 players. But really what it is it's like a puzzle drafting game, if I can call it that. You're literally looking at 3 available shapes that you can purchase to put on your quilts, and they can only go on if they fit into certain spaces. The further you get into the game, the tougher it is to fit those pieces on there. And you get buttons, which are equivalent to currency, or like depending on the type of game you're playing, that's how you purchase tile, like the pieces to the quilts. It's a competitive 2-player game, so I've been playing on my phone because it's easy to play at work. Play a 10-minute game or something like that. And then I picked up a new game called Onirim. Probably pronouncing it wrong. It's a solitaire style card game. It does have a physical game where you can play it, but I picked up the digital version based on a Dice Tower recommendation. And that's a pretty solid game too. It was only $1 on the iTunes store. I'm not sure if it's on Google Play or anything, but I'd recommend checking it out. It's another fun game, for $1. It's a really good value. So I say check that out. And yeah, I don't want to bore people with anything else. Nothing crazy that I need to tell anybody about. I did watch today around like 8:30 tonight. There's a show I watched called Mothership on Geek and Sundry and Alpha, and they did play Mario Kart live. And what was cool was they played with the girl from Silicon Valley, if anyone watches that. But they played 3-player local, and they showed 12 people playing battle mode up to character-wise. So the tournament should be interesting. And the game looked awesome. And the graphics were incredible. It played seamlessly. And some of the new power-ups and stuff, it really made me excited. Not that I'm excited for battle mode, but it made me excited to play with this big giant podcasting group, or just the PSVG people over the weekend. I'm excited to pick it up tomorrow and start playing, and I think I'll give that Prey demo a shot. But I did notice that they did really announce Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3 as backwards compatible games today, so I think I'm going to jump on EA Access and see if they added Dead Space 3 to the EA Access game.
Right, just skip that one.
I want to give it another shot because I didn't give it a fair shot when it came out. And it might still be as awful as I remember, but
probably worse.
But I want to give it another shot before I discredit it anymore. I'll spend 10 minutes with it. It's free. I'm already paying for EA Access, so
it's true.
I might as well try it. And that's even if they have it on there. So we'll see. But yeah, that's all I got for you.
All right, well, that's enough from us, so it's time to check in as we do each and every week and hear what you guys have to say, so let's listen to some messages. Our first one comes from Henry, and he wants to know what board games are on our shopping list to pick up soon. So I don't buy a lot, but I do have a short list, so I'll go later. Let's go to Kyle first.
Oh, man. So I have this I legitimately have a list, and I don't have it with me here immediately, but I have just a running list on my phone of every game that I want to get at some point in time. So I'm not going to go through that entire list because it is rather lengthy. A short list of things that are either out now or out very soon that I would like to pick up, though, is I believe Time Stories just came out with a new expansion that I would really like to pick up. So I do want to pick that up. I do want to pick up the 2 expansions that exist for Mystic Vale. So that is on the short list. One a bit older game that I have always wanted to play and never have, but keep trying to push the wife to, is Twilight Struggle. It's been like the #1 game I've wanted to buy for quite a while, and I've never gotten it. But that is the one older game that I'm like, gosh, I really need to pick this up at some point just before it goes out of print and it never comes back. And then the other thing, the 2 other ones that I'm hemming and hawing about right now is Mechs vs. Minions is going into a second printing that you can pre-order now, or I should say, and something we'll talk about a little bit later is Gloomhaven has its second Kickstarter right now. That I am really considering dropping $100 on, which is a lot. That's a lot of money, but man, that game, everything sounds so good about it. So that are the ones that I am looking at right now.
And Josh?
So I do have a list, and it's just on my Amazon wish list. It's not even my definitive list of games. I'll just go over what I have on my list quickly. So I have a game called Insider. I'm a big party game guy when we can get social events going. It's a game that is impossible to get. It just became in stock yesterday on Amazon again. I didn't pull the trigger only because of Gloomhaven, which we'll get into later. But it's supposed to be an incredible party game, deductive game. So it's on my list. I don't know too much about it except that it's one of the highest rated ones on Board Game Geek. I have Scythe, the board game, Blood Rage, which is actually 20% off on Amazon right now, which is a big temptation for me. I think they have a sale going on for Tabletop Day, which is why a lot of things are on sale. Star Wars Rebellion, Champions of Midgard, Mice and Mystics, Seafall, Cosmic Encounter, which I've never played, and Eldritch Horror are just some of the games on my list. There are more games like Legendary Encounters Firefly, which I really want to get, and a lot of games that just were announced sound very interesting to me as well. But yeah, I got a big list. I got just a few games behind me, and then
just a few.
I'm looking at about another 50 in front of me, so I'm running out of space, but not out of passion.
That's I've never heard that put that way before. That is an excellent way to look at that. So because my board game shelves are currently full, literally full. So we've had the discussion of if we buy any more, do we have to get rid of some? And I'm like, I don't know if I can part with that. I don't know if I can make that.
No, we don't need to.
I'm gonna I'll box some up. If you look behind me, behind is it's it goes behind another row, so there's more stuff back there.
That's actually not a closet. That's a room. It's just full to the edge.
It's a china closet, so there's a lot of space in there. But we'll probably box some stuff up. I'm not ready to get rid of anything, but we'll box some things up. I think I have Red Sox versus Yankees chess. I got at a Yankee swap. And as much as I could probably get rid of it, I'll just box it up. Who knows what my kid's going to want to play when he's older, and who knows what's going to be worth something in the future.
That's true. I need to do that too, because we have a bookshelf full of games, which probably 85% of them we never play. So we should probably do the same thing. There's a checker set in there somewhere, and it's nobody's playing checkers. Yeah. So yeah. For me, my shopping list is a little shorter than you guys, but I guess that's not too surprising after all. King of Tokyo, I do want to get that and play that at some point, as well as Betrayal at House on the Hill. So
it's one of my favorite games of all
time. Okay, good. And then the last one, which I believe Kyle had mentioned before, is it called Book of Magic, the one that's similar to Battle for Hogwarts or whatever?
Big Book of Madness?
Big Book of Madness.
Big Book of Madness. Okay, let me rewrite that down so I have that. Madness. And then another title, which we'll talk about later on in the news, that I was very excited I saw, and I scolded my board game experts for not telling me about sooner because they didn't even know.
Which I will say, though, you posted that within I think a day or hours of that coming out.
It was a day later. It was
okay. I was like, so that's not.
I knew about it. I just didn't think it was I don't know, anything that.
But it's me. Like, we'll get to it later. We'll get to it later. It's not talking about now. But see, I expect results from you guys like Seth does with reporting stuff to us. It's like seconds after it's posted. He's like, "Hey guys, this new trailer dropped." Like, yeah, all right. But yeah, that's it for me. I still have, keep in mind, Ticket to Ride is unopened still. Machikoro expansion pack is still unopened. So we'll talk more about that after we get through the messages as to what we're doing with games. But yeah, so that's it for me. So thanks.
I will say, Kevin, one thing you might want to add to that list too is that I think sometime soon, I don't remember when it is, it might not even be till this fall now that I think about it, but they are releasing an expansion for Hogwarts Battle.
Yes.
Yeah, you told me that Big Book of Madness people were doing it. I think you told me.
Well, it's the same people. It's USA Opoly.
Oh, okay.
Same guys. It's a monster expansion. They do add
nice.
Luna Lovegood to the characters as well.
Oh, yes!
Nice.
Yes. Sorry, she's my favorite character from Harry Potter. So
she's Bae
in the Harry Potter universe.
Okay. Anyway, so thank you for the message, Henry. Next is Jacob. He says, "I'm thinking of getting into miniature style board games. What would you recommend as an easier starting point to title, pick up, and play with my friends?" I'll go first because I don't have much expertise here at all. And one of the few that I've played that I think was pretty easy to learn, but not necessarily easy to master. And I believe it's still a thing, so you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Hero clicks, those are still a thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I said that because I had played that. This was years ago. I really should play it again because I think my kids would like it. But I played it years ago. It wasn't that terribly difficult to learn how to play. And with the wide range of characters and stuff you could use, I found you'll find something that somebody's interested in. I would think. There's been Star Wars ones, there's been Marvel ones, there's been DC ones, I believe. So that's my pick for the easiest miniatures to get into. Josh, what about you?
So on Hero Clicks, real quick, it's still pretty big. Like they are actively releasing like X-Men and Avengers sets and all these kinds of things. For me, it's an interesting question because I had the same question myself earlier this year. I didn't really know what I was doing with miniatures or how to get involved. So I kind of reached out to the PSVG guys because Star Wars Armada was on sale on Cool Mini or Not. So I picked it up. It was like $40 instead of $100. I still haven't played it. But I think that when Kevin mentions HeroClix, I don't know if miniatures players necessarily consider that miniatures. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But my recommendation to you is find your local hobby store. Like there's one near my house where all they do is miniatures.
Like Hobby Lobby?
Yeah, there's a place called Battle. I can't even think of the name. Sorry,
sorry, Josh. I did a joke on you. Hobby Lobby is like a craft store that's not open on Sundays because they're ultra religious. So,
okay.
So don't go to Hobby Lobby and ask for miniatures because they'll look at you funny.
Yeah. Well, they might have little horses you can paint. So there's a place near me that does. If you like, we walked in and it's 90% of their space is dedicated to miniatures, and they have tables set up, and every day they have groups come in. They even have it on their Facebook page where you can like get organized. Find a place like that, and you can literally just go in and say, I want to get into miniatures, and I have never done it before. Where should I start? And they'll have groups that you can jump in on because like Star Wars Armada is very specific to Star Wars. You might not want to jump into that universe if you're not a Star Wars guy. A lot of people still play Warhammer and Blood Bowl, stuff like that. But that's like, from my perspective, that's still some advanced stuff. And if you don't get into miniatures in the right way, it's kind of like entering an organized sport that you don't know how to play. People can be brutal. So search out your local hobby shops and game stores and see what they have going on for miniature days or nights, and just dip your foot in just to test the waters and see what it's like, because at least for me, it's very intimidating, and it's not a cheap hobby.
No.
Especially once you start getting into the people who are painting their own figures or buying painted figures. So for me, it's very intimidating. So I have Star Wars Armada. Someday I'll give it a shot, but my list is stacking up on what to play.
All right, so Kyle, what's your input? I haven't heard you talk too much about miniatures in the past, so I'm not sure if this is up your alley or not.
Well, and see, this is where it's kind of a hard question, right? Because if you say miniatures games, there's two different ways you can go. You can go the skirmish style game of, your Hero Clicks, your War Machine, your Malifaux, your Batman miniature game, which I don't know if Kevin is even aware that exists.
No.
There is a Batman miniature game, Kevin, and it's all Batman miniatures. I think it's made in England, though, but you can get it here still. So there's a Batman miniature game.
I'm adding to my list right now.
But those games, they're those games which have the rule sets stylings that you would see from like Warhammer, from the bigger war games. But then you also have just board games that have a lot of miniatures in them. So it's kind of like, which direction are we going here? Because stylistically, they're pretty different games, but they often are both categorized as miniature games. So I guess I don't know which direction he wants to go here. If you want to do the more like Hero Clicks, War Machine, Malifaux style, I think your best bet is going to be find a theme or something that speaks to you, or find a group of players that you can play with regularly, because the rule sets tend to be a little more complex. And it's hard to be like, hey, I'm going to start playing Malifaux, and if there's no one around you who's going to play it, that makes it a little bit tough. So I would really encourage, if that's the style you want to get into, talk with your friends, look at what those games are, figure which one is appealing to all of you or most of you, and have them start playing. Or, as Josh said, go to your friendly local game store. Almost all of them, if you have one, are going to have a miniatures day of the week where they're going to sit down and play miniatures. Oftentimes, most of those people will be playing Warhammer, Fantasy, or 40K. But, there might be groups of people who are playing the smaller skirmish games as well. So if that's the style you want to go with, just go ahead and check out, those things and check out those games and see from what seems most interesting to you. Because from a rule set standpoint, I've only played a couple of them, but most of them are a bit complex. Like, there's not a super easy, to me at least, one to get into. Yeah. If you were looking more on the board game side, I think Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures is a really good game. Some people might feel like that kind of bridges the gap between the two, because you kind of have a board, but not really. So that's a really excellent one. Or even getting to other games that we've talked about, Blood Rage is, by some people considered a miniatures one. Mechs vs. Minions has a lot of dudes in the box. I haven't played it, but I've heard good things.
Did you just say lots of dudes in the box?
Lots of dudes in the box. Okay. Lots of dudes. Lots of minis. And that's the other thing too, is I always call them miniatures, and most people in the hobby call them miniatures, and for some reason that really bothers me. But Zombicide is another super popular game that has a lot of minis included with it as well. That might be a good place to start. Mice and Mystics even, if you're looking for something more dungeon crawly, that's going to have a good number of minis that you could paint yourself if you wanted to. Xia Legend of a Drift System might be another option too. So it kind of depends on which direction you want to go. Do you want the board game style? Do you want the skirmish style? But yeah, just take a look, figure out what appeals to you from a theme standpoint, and your friends, and kind of jump in. And if you have a community or a player base that's close to you, it might be worthwhile just showing up and being like, hey, can somebody talk to me about this and let me know what it's like? And most of the folks in that community, they tend to be pretty nice, and they're pretty welcoming to new people, and they want to get more people involved in their hobby. So feel free to stop on out somewhere and talk to people.
Agreed. So there you go, Jacob. There's a long list, and if nothing tickles your fancy there, well, too bad. That's all we got for you. So go away. Go listen to other podcasts. I think there's some other board game ones out there, maybe.
Just a couple.
So our last question, and if he's even listening, the most important question here on the list comes from Marcel, a.k.a. Sven the Moose 97 on Twitter. First part, it's two-parter. So first part is, what's the best board game of all time? Is it Seven Wonders, Seven Wonders, or Seven Wonders?
It's actually Seven Wonders Duel. If he's
what I was going to say.
If he's going to make me pick.
If we're picking from those, Seven Wonders Duel is the superior version of that game.
I don't think he's played it. I play games with Sven the Moose or Marcel a lot. we can tell Marcel the best type of board, Seven Wonders is the one where he's not on his phone the whole game.
Oh.
He'll get that.
Okay.
He's on his phone for every game.
Well, yeah, I know a few people who do that too. So, all right. So his actual real question though is, what's our opinion on games that confuse complex rules with strategic gameplay? For example, games like Arkham Horror and/or Firefly. So I don't think he means confuse complex rules is how it's written, but I think he means like confuses people with complex rules and strategic gameplay. Like
he meant it the way it is. It's a D&D term. That's why it sounds weird when you read it.
Nerd.
Yeah. But he means the games that take 3 or 4 plays to figure out what you're doing, or
gotcha.
You know, like Dead of Winter is a great example of games like that, where you sit around a table for the first playthrough, you look in the box and it says 60 to 90 minutes, and your game is 4 to 5 hours long, and you still haven't knocked it all out, you know,
yeah.
like, and then people are still going like, you go, I do this, I'm going to move this guy here, and then someone's like, can you do that? And then 3 people go, yeah, you can. And the other guy goes, well, let me read the rule book. And then that's what he means. Like, and at least if I take the question the way he means it, I think it's necessary. It's one of those things that's not like, it's not ideal in games, because really you want to be able to sit down and enjoy a game and play it, but it's necessary because not every game is going to be, I hate to say it, it's like a 4-letter word for board gaming, but not every game is going to be Monopoly. Not every game is going to be something you can pick up and play, because you have to get to that point where you can pick it up and play. And the problem is when you find a game you love, like Seven Wonders is easy to explain, but it still has a learning curve. And the more you like a game, the more people you introduce to it, the more you feel this confusing complex rules problem, because you're explaining it over and over and over again. Like, and then you're on the flip side of the coin. If I don't play Dead of Winter for 6 months and then someone wants to play it again, I'm like, what do I even do in this game? And then you're still sitting down for another 3-hour game, because if someone hasn't played it recently, it's, you know, and you're actively playing other games, it's real easy to have this problem where not every game plays. Like, I can pick up Carcassonne because it's a tile laying game, and pretty much pick up any other tile laying game and have a similar like theme to how to play it, like Alhambra or something, where it's a little bit easier to figure out how to play it. But games like Dead of Winter, and if you pick up a game that's similar to it, it probably plays totally different. So I think it's a necessary evil. So if you want to be able to, and that's why you're paying $60 to $100 for a game.
Yeah.
Because it's an investment. It's not a Monopoly. It's not a Dixit. It's not a game that just sits on your shelf and you pick up on a game night. It's something that you plan. Hey, we're going to play Dead of Winter on Wednesday. And then people go, okay, now I know I need to refresh myself on Dead of Winter. And that's why it's great that things like YouTube exist, because you can go sit down on your lunch break and watch a half an hour how to play and get a nice refresher on these games. So I think we're getting better remedies to the complex rules. It's still not super awesome sometimes.
Yeah.
It can be frustrating, but the one thing that I'll say that I learned from like podcasts like Dice Tower is, before you sit down, you just need to remind everyone it's just a game. There's no need to lose your mind or get frustrated over anything.
That's half the fun.
Because yeah, well, it can be fun, but like a lot of the questions that you get are like, I screwed up this rule and realized halfway through the game.
Oh yeah.
What do I do? And then like the answer is,
get dragged down the backyard and beaten.
You just keep playing the way you were playing.
Yeah.
It's just a game. If you're in Vegas and you're playing for $100,000 pot, I get it. but it's just a game you're playing with friends. So when you sit down with these games with complex rules, take it with a grain of salt. Do your best to play the game the right way. But if you make a mistake, just roll with it. And we always do it when we finish playing. We all go, I'm going to read these rules again, and I'm going to go watch this video on YouTube. And the next time we play, we'll have no issues, and we always have.
And then 6 months later, when you play it again.
Yeah. How do we play this game again? No, it's. I mean, I think you've kind of said pretty much everything there is to say about it, but it's true. You're right, because it's a double-edged sword. You want good quality games that have complex rules and are more substance to it than your Monopoly, than your Life, than your Candyland, whatever you want to use. But then it can turn off a lot of people at the same time. Like, I think you, Josh, are a better example that you have a steady group of people that will play board games with you. And I don't always, and I know Kyle goes through waves too here and there where he's able to get people together and play these bigger games. So it's a little bit harder. And then if I were to sit down and pull something like one of those games out and it takes 3 hours to get through a game, I may have a really hard time getting somebody to play that game again afterwards. But you're right. You want that experience, and it should be complex in order to get the full experience. So I agree with you. It's tough. You have to play through a couple times, convince the people to play through a couple times if they got discouraged to get it down and figure it out. Like the first night we played Battle for Hogwarts, I don't think my family liked it very much. They were kind of like, the second time I pulled it out, like, we don't want to play again. But I convinced them to do it, and they now love it. Right. So it's more like, okay, we had to get over that learning curve, and then we were able to enjoy it a little bit more. But I think you pretty much said everything you can. Did you have anything else to add, Kyle?
Briefly, I think my wife and I like very different styles of games. My wife's really, really into Euros, and I don't mind a good Euro, but I care much more about theme. Like, so I absolutely adore Dead of Winter. That game, I find I just love playing it. If the rules make sense with the theme and I can follow the logic, make it as complex as you want, because that for me is a good reminder when I'm playing the game. Then from a theme standpoint, that like, oh, goes this way because think about it. If you were freezing outside, like, this is why you get frostbite. Like, those things make sense to me. I struggle more with the Euros where they have a theme, but it doesn't always. It's like, yeah, we have a theme just because we want you to put cubes here or a dude here. Right. And that's where I struggle with the remembering sometimes. And I'm like, that doesn't really make sense as to why that's that way. But it has to be that way for the math of the game to work out, to make sure it's balanced the way it's supposed to be. And then so my wife can kick my butt at it really, really easily. So when it is theme appropriate, I'm all about complex rule systems as long as they follow that theme, because for some reason in my head they just make sense. When it's those Euro games that have Terra Mystica is one of those games that my wife loves it. I really enjoy it, but if we don't play it, like if we take off like 4 weeks between playing it, I'm like, okay, I have to have a refresher before we play this again, even though I've played the game probably 20 times. Like, I'm just like, I gotta remember. Okay, when we do this charge, do I take 1 out or 2 out, or how does that go? Like, that's the thing that where I'm just like, man, I wish this was a little more streamlined. But
they just made an app of that. They just put that out on phones now. Which I find that's good because it gives me a refresher before I go play a game. Like, I might pop on. Why am I blanking? I have Lords of Waterdeep on my phone, and if I know we're gonna do a board game day like Saturday coming up, I'll go play a couple games on my phone, and I can even refresh people. That it's easier for me to explain the rules to people because it's more familiar. We haven't played Terra Mystica, but with the Apple Share, we can use it on all of our devices, so it's more.
Oh, that's true.
We're more likely to play a game together that we haven't played. Like Patchworks. So we're looking at Terra Mystica going, oh yeah, this is something we could just get into now.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's just one of those things that it's like, that was a dense rule set to get through the first time, that's for sure. So
All right, well, that wraps up the mailbag for this week. So thank you to Marcel, Jacob, and Henry for sending in your questions. We hope we helped you out somewhat, or if not, we probably confused you more thoroughly than you were in the first place. So, oh well. But don't forget, you can write to us to ask us your questions, leave some feedback, make fun of us, whatever you want to do. You can email it over to podcast@playsomevideogames.com, or you can always tweet at us at PSVG. So before we get into the news of the week, focused on board games this week, of course, the reason we decided to time this episode when it is, and it will be out in time or on this special day we're about to talk about. And that is this Saturday is International Tabletop Day. So once a year, when the first buds of spring begin to unfurl from their winter slumber, International Tabletop Day brings us to the table to remind us why we play, give thanks to those who make every roll of the dice more exciting. From the heaviest strategy game to the lightest party game, International Tabletop Day gives us a chance to celebrate those who bring their passions to the table, like Josh. Everyone from the biggest publisher to the smallest developer let players explore new worlds and take on Herculean tasks in more than an hour. And we find ourselves sitting in the winner circle. We know it'll be the makers of the games who love cheering us on. So it's a day to celebrate board games or tabletop games in general, whether it be anything from Cards Against Humanity to Arkham Horror to whatever you want to play. The big focus is to remember why we play these types of games, to find the passions, connect with those looking to play games with us. It's a great way for communities to get together, friends to get together and bond, and just have some fun in a lax, chill environment, unless of course you have a newborn baby, Josh, and you'll learn very quickly that those plans will go away. But for the time being, it's a great day to enjoy. A lot of gaming or hobby shops, as Josh said earlier, will be throwing special events this Saturday to celebrate it. You'll be able to meet up with other like-minded folks and play games, get some promos. A lot of sales will be going on that day. I'm sure Amazon will be doing something as well. I think they actually already started doing some discounts I've seen. So It's a great chance to jump into some games if you've been waiting, but it's also a great way to find somebody else in your community that might be just as interested or passionate about the hobbies as well as you. So I think before we move on to the news of the week, maybe we could talk a little bit about if we have any plans for International Tabletop Day. I'll describe how my day is going. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get to play the games this day because this day is super, super busy for me. My wife is going wedding dress shopping with her sister because that's coming up this December. So that leaves me with the 3 kids. Problem is my uncle is having a birthday party up in upstate New Hampshire that day that I'm supposed to go to. But my daughter also has a history club project at Rhode Island College that morning at 10. So I'll be dropping my daughter off, then dropping the baby off with somebody else to spend the day with her, then picking up the oldest kid, driving up to New Hampshire, being there for a couple hours, driving back from New Hampshire. So my day's pretty packed, but I am hoping that if not that night, during Sunday, we'll get to play some games. I plan on hopefully wrapping up Battle for Hogwarts, opening Ticket to Ride. My kids have actually been really excited to try it. They've been looking at the box. They've been playing Stare at It in the box. And we're getting a kick out of that. We might even finally break open the Machi Koro expansion that we never played too. So we do have plans to play, just however might be on Sunday versus Saturday. But that morning I will be up and online seeing the deals that I'm sure Amazon's going to have up and see if I can pick up some of the stuff off my wish list that we were talking about earlier. But yeah, so unfortunately for me, I don't have any big party plans going on. If I do anything, it'll be a little more low key with the family, which is fine because my girls are old enough to be able to play most of his games now. So it's not, I have a live-in board game party with 4 people ready to play. So that's me. Kyle, do you have any plans for International Tabletop Day?
So Kevin, I have to ask though, who's your wife marrying?
No, my wife's sister.
I'm kidding. I know. I'm joking. It was supposed to be funny. Never mind. Anyway, so
Very defensive.
Hairless cats. Hairless cats. That's all I'm saying.
So yeah, we recently moved into a new house, and that's exciting. Except it's supposedly spring, and we have no landscaping done. So this Saturday is landscaping day. That's the plan, at least. It is really chilly here. We're supposed to get frost tonight.
Really?
So this Saturday actually may not be landscaping day because I don't want to buy plants on Saturday if we're going to get frost again next week. So I have to check the weather for long term. But the plan right now is to do some landscaping in the day, and then at the night, the wife and I will sit down, and we usually have the 2 of us usually play board games once a week. So this week, obviously for International Tabletop Day, we're moving that to Saturday. Right now, I don't know what is on the agenda. Typically, each one of us picks one game because obviously we like very different styles of games. I'm pretty certain she's going to pick Viticulture. So that I'm sure is on the playlist. I don't know what's going to be my pick yet. Man, what's the name? I just totally blanked out on the game that I wanted to play. I know, and I can't see my shelves from here, so it's really, really bad. But I had one I was planning on. It's a little bit older. It's not Defender. Is it Defenders of the Realm? It might be Defenders of the Realm. Anyway, yeah. So I'm sure we'll play something Saturday night. I know, like I said, I'm pretty sure Viticulture's on the playlist. but not going anywhere, not going to hang out with anyone. I did that last year and it was phenomenal. This year, landscaping. Being an adult is stupid.
It really is, and I've been doing some landscaping too, and the wife has been doing some landscaping too. So I feel you there. It's been a little warmer up here, but the problem, I mean, this is New England, so we're used to it anyway. But it's like it got really warm for like half a week, and then it was like frost for like 2 days, and then we've had rain. It's been kind of chilly too, but I feel you. Landscaping sucks. So Josh, you're the only exciting one. We're gonna live vicariously through you. So what do you have planned?
Well, it's going to be 80 here on Saturday, so that's kind of a bummer. For temperature wise, having a lot of people together in a room.
Open up those windows.
When it's 80 degrees is not super ideal. I'm actually running a 5K that morning, and it's a craft beer 5K. So after the 5K, that's a beer fest. This has actually happened now twice on Tabletop Day. So we'll be running. Team #butts, not a joke, is running. This is our 3rd year in a row. It's 12. The race is 12. Pretty much done by 12:30. The beer fest is 12:30 to 4, and we'll come back to our house. We host every year, and we'll be doing our own tabletop day. Ashley's going to take the baby while I'm running, and she's going to go to our local comic shop and Barnes and Noble to get all the tabletop freebies. Which we should note, Barnes and Noble's pretty much all over the country are going to have Tabletop Day events and freebie giveaways all day. So you can even go to a Barnes and Noble and play some games with people. If you're looking to get into games and you haven't really yet, they're great because they're going to be for specific games. And what better time to pick a game than a game you have a special promo for?
Yeah.
So take a look at what they're offering, and if anything appeals to you, even graphically for the art of the cards, maybe invest in a game. Member of Barnes & Noble's, whatever they call it, program, you just got a 20% off coupon in your email for this weekend as well, so you can walk in there and get 20% off for board game. Great that they're doing that, but yeah, we haven't picked games yet. Typically, so unfortunately, we had a runner drop out for a death in the family. And then we just had 2 more people drop out today because of a birth in the family. So we get a baby coming tomorrow for 2 people and a death and a funeral on Saturday. So our group is diminished, but it won't stop us from playing games. We will be, playing, whatever. Typically on tabletop days, we like to play a game that we haven't played in forever, maybe even like Catan. We haven't played Catan in years, and then we'll play something new. Recently, I forgot to mention on my what you playing. Too much Fluxtapose. On my games I've been playing, was a new board game we played recently, which is actually pretty cool because it has a choose your own adventure option to it, where when you go to do something, you roll a die and they read you a little story and you have to decide what you want to do based on what they read to you. It's very similar to Betrayal at House on the Hill, but it kind of this affects a little bit more about what you're gaining on your quest. So that was really fun, so we might play that again, but really it's about Tabletop Day. To me has been just an excuse to get friends over and play, and that's what we do. That's what I think. I didn't start playing board games until, I don't know, Kevin would know, whenever Best Buy Millbury opened. So it's been
10 years ago.
10 years.
Been around 10 years, yeah.
When I was younger, we'd play Monopoly, we'd play Yahtzee, but 10 years ago, a friend got me into these hard, fun games, and it's just been a great excuse to have people over and socialize. I mean, you can socialize a little bit with couch co-op gaming, video games, but you're really focused. Yeah. You can't really stop, pause, have a drink, say something to a friend, see what they're doing in their life, and then take your turn. that's unique, and that's why I love tabletop games, and I love Tabletop Day, because typically we'll get, like, I think last year Tabletop Day we might have like 15 people in the house. We had 2 different tables going with games, because people want that opportunity to come try something new and spend time with people. So if you can't do it this year, set some time aside, plan something for next year, like do something big. Get out there and interact with people and teach them something new, because I mean, this is the resurgence that people have been waiting for. Like, we had a lull. Look at where we are now. Vinyl, comic books, and board games.
Yeah, right. It's a good point. I think we're gonna end it right there, because that was a way to end it right there. So yeah, basically get out there, start a group. It doesn't have to be on International Tabletop Day. It's just kind of here to remind you. But I think we've encouraged people on every episode of this that we've done to get out there and try something and play something new, because you might find something that excites you and make some new friends, or be able to spend more time with your friends because of this hobby. So let's move on to the news of the week then. Special board game edition. Our top story, only because I say it is. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but this European game company, Kyle, do you know how to say it? Modifius?
I think it's Modifius, but I don't know that for certain.
Okay, well, it's spelled like Modifius, announces Fallout Wasteland Warfare miniatures game. So we've seen a kind of a trend right now with a lot of different video games are turning into miniatures and different board games recently. So one was just announced for Fallout. The sculpts look pretty cool. They showed a few of them. In the initial thing, I thought it was pretty awesome. You'll be able to play player versus player. You'll be able to play co-op, but more importantly, and probably the way I'll end up playing it, is solo tabletop missions in this game. So looked really cool. Anything Fallout related, I'm always excited for. It is set to come out later this year. They haven't really given the full press release or really shown any more pictures yet. They said that'll be coming out within the next couple days. So I imagine probably later next week, by the time you listen to it, we should see more on that. So I know you guys weren't that excited for it, so I don't know. Kyle, you have any input?
Well, my question for you, since you're going to be playing this, are you going to be painting the miniatures? Because they're unpainted. You're not going to paint them?
Dude, I am not crafty at all. Not even a little bit. Maybe I'll have my wife and kids, they can paint them if they want. But
I think you should put the effort in and paint these things.
I don't know if I have time to play, let alone paint. Every podcast you just see me painting away when I'm not talking. But yeah, I don't know. So I just thought it was pretty cool. So we'll see what that is. I guess we'll let Kyle do the next couple until we get to one that Josh wanted to talk about.
Okay, so Josh, feel free to jump in here whenever you'd like to.
All right.
So Oni Press has announced they're teaming up with Plaid Hat Games, and they're going to be publishing a comic book based on everyone's favorite zombie tale, Dead of Winter. So the thing I love about this most is it's going to focus on Sparky the stunt dog. So Sparky, probably everyone's favorite character from Dead of Winter. They're describing this as a hilarious mix of The Walking Dead and Air Bud. So I'm really excited about this. Dead of Winter is one of my favorite games. I play Sparky every chance that I can get in Dead of Winter. So I'm really stoked about this. So it'll be on shelves August 2nd is the release date, and it'll also be available on Comixology. So I'm looking forward to this. Josh, are you looking forward to this?
The problem, do you remember when comic books went out of style? It's because they started printing crazy random things.
Yep.
I think this is great.
As much as I love the dog and the monkey and the expansion, The Long Night, do I think good for them? I hope that they're successful. Sure.
All right. Well, Kevin, do you have thoughts?
No, I don't know the character, so I'm not familiar with it. But I mean, it does sound like, just reading the description, it sounds like a very niche market there. So I expect like a one story arc thing. So if it's like 6 to 12 issues, that's fine, because then it can make a trade paperback out of it. It'll be good. Nice little add-on collector piece for people who are really into it.
And the best part about Sparky, Kevin, since you've never played the game, is Sparky doesn't get frostbite, which is great. And Sparky can have weapons. How great is that? Your dog can have a gun. I mean, come on. That is
I was saying,
awesome.
I have a lot of questions. So is he a zombie?
No, he's one of the characters you can play as.
Okay, so he's not
a zombie fighting machine.
Yep,
that's
exactly.
what I was wondering. I'm like, if he's a zombie, why would he get frostbite anyway? But okay,
Yeah,
I guess that makes more sense.
Zombies can get frostbite, Kevin.
I mean, I guess they couldn't they? I mean,
it won't kill them, but they can get it.
So, but anyway, his nice fur coat protects him from that. All right, moving on. So everyone's favorite Uwe Rosenberg has announced finally that Caverna, Cave versus Cave, the long-anticipated two-player version of Caverna the Cave Farmers, is finally looking to come out. Uwe is really well known for Agricola and Le Havre. So this is going to take Caverna, which is a phenomenal game. My wife and I play it pretty regularly. Lots of stuff in that box, but playing that game as two players can be pretty daunting. So this is going to streamline that game down into a two-player experience that will only take about 40 minutes. Should be coming out in June, so just right around the corner. I'm really looking forward to this game. Definitely going to try to pick this one up ASAP. Josh, have you played Caverna? Any desire to play Caverna or this version of it?
I haven't played it. I have a huge desire to play it. I think the two-player version gives me a more reason to jump in now, since Ashley, my wife, and I are trying to get, it's a lot easier for us to pick up a two-player game casually. So we're definitely looking into those two-player games more. So I'll probably look into the two-player version of it.
Have you played Agricola at all?
No, and it's another game that it's like that Holy Grail game. Like, it's a game that everyone goes, "Oh, you never played this game? Okay, have you played Agricola? Because the rules are very similar." I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I haven't. So it's one of those games I need to play. I'll probably play it at a convention or something just to kind of get it taken care of.
Excellent. Kevin, I don't think this is a game you can play with your kids, but do you have any desire to play Caverna, the Cave Farmers?
By the name alone, I'm going to go with no.
That's the one thing I love about board games compared to video games. Like, the themes of these games are like, you want to be a cave farmer? Do you want to, like, what are you going to do today? I'm going to go grow crops, or I'm going to mine things out of my cave.
Well, Kevin plays Animal Crossing, so
that is true.
He has no excuse.
That's very true. That's very true.
I don't think I can get other people to play with me. At least Animal Crossing, I can just play alone. It's fine.
That's true. That's very true. So WizKids has announced the newest addition to their popular Dice Masters line. That is DC Dice Masters Batman. Kevin, are you familiar with Dice Masters?
I have questions. So this one I'm excited for. I saw it up on your thing. So Josh is running to grab it.
Yep, he is.
A Dice Master game, I suppose. So I'll pull up to the camera. All right, so he's got a Justice League one, it looks like, or a DC superhero one. So I've heard of it, yes. So I clicked on the press release you sent over, and I'm reading it, and I'm just a little confused because, actually, I'll just let you talk. If you can explain what Dice Masters is, it's Batman, so I'm all in. It says, over 30 different characters will be available for it. But if you can explain what Dice Masters is, then I can follow up with any questions I might have.
Josh, do you want to take? I've played Dice Masters like 4 or 5 times. Do you want to take this one, sir?
Yeah, sure. Dice Masters is a cousin to Quarriors, which is a game I discovered many years ago. It has a pretty cool premise. So you have cards like this. This one's Shazam. Multiple cards represent the characters, so you're not necessarily stuck with this one card. But if you look on the bottom here, it has your die rollout. So you would take your Shazam die and you would roll it, and depending on what shows up on your card here, you would get that effect. These cards have costs, so you recruit them. Dice Masters are a little different. When you play with Quarriors, you have a whole board and you roll basic die. If you ever played like a deck building game, I'll use Ascension as an example. You have apprentices and you have militia, so you have recruit points and attack points. So you roll your die, you get recruit points, you recruit a card. That card comes with die, and you add it to your die pool, and you roll. And if you roll that die in the future, you get the effects of that. In Dice Masters, you actually start with certain characters, and then you like kind of like recruit equipment instead of like a batarang, and then you can use that in your gameplay. It's interesting to me because like I'm not going to pour them all out, but I don't know if you can hear it. I have like 200 die, and I'm not even into this game. Like we got a couple packs because they were like there's a lot of die to these Dice Masters games.
Yeah.
The problem I see with Dice Masters is there's so much that as someone who is new, they don't know where to get in.
Yeah.
You can buy like a starter pack, and they have like 2-player starter packs, so you could kind of just sit down and play with the characters that come with it. It's a great game, don't get me wrong. The dice are very nicely done, and you get to play as Batman and Joker. You can even play as Batman and Joker on the same team. Like, you're not limited to your imagination. Well, like, your imagination is the limit. So you can play Wonder Woman and Killer Croc or whatever you want. Like, and basically you set out these cards, and then your opponent can also pick these characters. And someone will listen and they'll tell me I missed a few things in Dice Masters because I haven't really picked it up in a while. Ashley and I got into it like when it came out, so we have like a big Marvel set, and we have a big DC like not set, but you buy packs. The problem with it, in my mind, is when you buy Couriers, the whole set's included except for expansions, obviously. These ones you're buying like blister packs, like you used to buy baseball cards.
Yeah.
And you're getting doubles, kind of like what Star Wars Destiny just did the same thing. So you're getting duplicates. And when you buy a pack of Dice Masters, it comes with, and I could be wrong, but it's not equivalent. It comes with like 2 cards and 2 dice, but only 1 die per card. And a lot of these you need 2 dice. Up to, I think you can use up to 4 per card. So you're kind of like goaded into buying more and more and more to get into it. But if you can go somewhere, if you find somewhere like they have a Ninja Turtles one, they have a Dungeons and Dragons one, like the D&D one was like on super clearance like not too long ago. And it's really just the theme. You're not actually getting into a role-playing game. It's just Dungeons and Dragons theme. So you could go pick up a box for the price for a quarter of the price of another box just to kind of get into it. It's a cool thing. It's something you can bring along. If you find a good theme for the kids, it's a great investment.
That's what I was thinking, because I know my middle child, she'll be all on board for playing a Batman one, but like the press release only had pictures of the blister packs like you were talking about, where it only comes with 2 cards and 2 die. Yeah. So but they do like starter packs though and stuff. You were saying.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So that makes me feel better because I'd start there. That's how I got them into like Pokemon cards, and how they learned how to play that was through that. So yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, if they've played Pokemon and are like and understand that, the reason I started playing it was I was looking for something to kind of replace Magic, because Magic had just gotten so expensive, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. But I still like the constructing a deck and putting things together and being like, okay, here's what I'm going to use. This fits that really well. So if they play Pokemon, like the learning curve from that to this isn't going to be that drastic. It's just that instead of like using like lands or anything as far as like a resource goes, you're rolling dice. That's really the biggest difference. But it's still putting cards together, playing cards, and then just saying, okay, I'm going to use my dice to determine what I actually get to use them for, or how I get to utilize them. So it's a fun, cool game, though, for sure.
I think I'll be on board for that. Josh is showing up something. So Avengers versus X-Men dice. I muted him, so if he's trying to talk, he can't hear me. So he was making a whole lot of noise, so I had to mute him. And he just turned his camera off, so he's really just upset.
He's showing what he's showing though is one of the starter packs.
I muted my regular mic, that's why I didn't mute this one. So if you look at this is just a standard 2-player box set. So it's $20. You get all these dice, and then you get so I'll read it to you real quick. So 44 custom dice, 12 basic action dice, 16 character dice, 16 sidekick dice. Then you got 38 cards, 24 character cards, 10 basic action cards, and 4 reminder cards. And this is for 2 players. And then you buy the packs afterwards.
Okay. That makes sense. So cool. Yeah, no, I like it. Sounds good. I'll probably be the Batman one will probably be the one I'd start with her, as long as they do like a starter pack for that too.
Yeah, they will for sure.
I'm sure they will. Continuing on the hype train, well, I shouldn't say hype train, but continuing on the trend of boxes being created for everything these days, Fortune magazine has announced that Hasbro is going to be offering a subscription model for their games that consumers will be able to pick either between a party game or family games, and they'll receive 4 games a year under the service. So similar to, Blue Apron or, BarkBox or whatever the gaming ones are that I can't remember. Who's our sponsor?
I was going to say, funny you should talk about boxes. BossBox.
Thank you.
BossBox.store. Use the promo code PSVG and save 10% on your order today.
So similar to BossBox, anything like that. They're kind of just moving into the board game realm with that. So it's called the Hasbro Gaming Crate. Now, they haven't talked a ton about it yet. They say that it's going to become available sometime in summer of 2017. The thing I'm interested in, and I think the thing we've talked a little bit about, is this past games? Is this new games? Like, what games are they including in this? Are these like, you're going to get Sorry one month, and then you're going to get something that is not yet released 3 months later? So that's the thing I'm most interested in. I think for most, hobby board game people, this probably isn't something for them. But if it's, you're a family or if you're a party gamer, this might be a good option for you if you want to try to kind of start slowly building a collection to play with kids or family. This might be an option. But I kind of want to see more before I pass any judgment either way.
It's true, because Hasbro isn't known for really, at least to my knowledge, making they've made classic board games. So don't get me wrong, they made classic ones. But as far as modern board games, you don't really see a whole heck of a lot come out of them that's new. It's rebranding of the same type of game, and they slap a different license on it or something like that, is what I'm seeing more of recently. Like every version of Sorry, they'll do like a cartoon character version. So they'll do, like Disney Sorry and Marvel Sorry, and they do stuff like that. So I'd want to see more about it. I do think it's a good idea. And kudos to them. Hasbro's a local company in Rhode Island. So good for them to try and be innovative and break out with this earlier than I haven't seen anybody else do it yet. So they might be the first one, but I don't want to say that, to be definitive, but it's good for them to make an attempt at it. But yeah, I'd want to see more, because family can be a wide range. I mean, sometimes you get really, small kid games that are meant for 5 to 8 year olds, but technically it's a family game. So, or you get to the stuff that you can play with that's truly like an evergreen title where it's always going to be in style, like your Monopolies and stuff like that. And then the party games, those are hit or miss, because some party games, especially from the main manufacturers, your Mattel, your Milton Bradley, your Hasbro, they'll be hot for 2 months, and then they're dirt cheap on clearance after that. So what are you going to get? To quote Brad Pitt, what's in the box? Is it going to be something that you could go to your Five Below store that sells board games for $5 or less and get it, or did you spend $30 in your subscription service to get that same game a month prior? So, but I think it's innovative. I do want to see more. Kudos to them jumping on it, but I need more info on that one. Josh?
So I'm curious. I agree. I'm curious what they would do for the box. I'd be interested to an extent, but I did want to comment real quick with all these publishers now. A lot of these reprints of games are getting scooped up by companies like USAopoly did Harry Potter, and they have basically just done Monopoly games up until last year, maybe the year before, like the Monopoly spinoffs, like Ohiopoly, stuff like that. But Hasbro is a good example, because if you look up what they do now, besides their own games, they have Axis and Allies, Betrayal at House on the Hill. Oh, they do now. Camelot, Castle Risk. They do a bunch of the Risk games. Dungeons and Dragons, the fantasy adventure board game. Escape from Atlantis, which is a phenomenal game. So they have all these games that they're buying. It happens every year. Publishers discontinue a game, and then they sell the rights to a company like Cool Mini or Not is a company that a couple of years ago just existed as a seller, and then all of a sudden they just started publishing their own games, and then buying all these rights and remaking these games. So Hasbro's another company. Keep your eye out for stuff like that. because I felt the same way you did. I was like, oh, Hasbro game night. Like, so I'm going to subscribe to this box and I'm going to get Boggle and then Battleship and then what? Why would I want to keep subscribing to this box? So I totally am on board with the let's wait and see, like the first month and see what they have. Like, because there are board game boxes out there and there's some good ones out there. They're just expensive. And you're not guaranteed to get games you don't already have. And if you're spending like $60 a month, that's tough. That's a big investment for something you might not necessarily know what you're getting into. So, it's tough. But let's transition. Let's talk about an investment.
To say the least.
Let's talk about an investment.
Really quick, Josh, before you transition to this next one, What do you think the chances are this is the way? And I could be wrong because maybe I can never remember if this is Hasbro who made it. Is Hasbro who made HeroScape?
Originally, yes.
Do you think this is how they're going to bring HeroScape back?
If
suddenly, randomly, in 6 months in a box,
exclusive to subscribers only.
It would be a heck of a way to do it, I'll tell you that.
Anyway, sorry, continue on.
Yeah, no, I don't know. They probably sold HeroScape out to somebody else, or they just bought them. Maybe they're the ones who own them now. Who knows? All right, let's talk about Gloomhaven. I don't want to go crazy on this, but I want to get in depth a little bit. For those who don't know about this, because I'm a gamer who didn't know about this when it first came out, and there's nothing worse than feeling left out on one of the biggest gaming trends games maybe ever. And that's a bold statement, but it also leads to, is this game for you? Is this game for Kevin? Is this game for, it's this game for who? Gloomhaven started as a Kickstarter. It was one of Kickstarter's most successful Kickstarters at the time. And now it is one of Kickstarter's most successful things at this time, because right now they're in the second printing. There's 4 days to go. So this is your warning. If you hear this on Saturday, there's 2 days to go.
Yep.
If you hear this on Monday, check, because it'll be down to the minutes. Right now, so they started this second printing campaign. They asked for $100,000. They're, as of right now, at $3,015,000 in change. And that's only 31,000 backers.
Wow.
I'm not going to try to do the math. So there's 4 days to go. What I want to do is I want to kind of read you their description, if I can even find it. While I'm looking for it, I'm going to tell you real quick. All right, so Gloomhaven is a series of tactical combat scenarios that are strung together in a persistent thematic campaign. Each scenario is played out through rounds of combat against fully automated enemies. In each round, players will play 2 cards to determine the order in which they act. All right, this is getting into the rules. All right, basically, this is a version of a role-playing game mixed with a legacy game, if you know what that is. A legacy game is where you permanently affect how you play, sometimes by marking the board, by tearing up cards. In this game, it's by marking the board, retiring characters as you play, and also, so say Kevin starts as a character, and we play for a couple weeks, and his character reaches a certain level and he retires.
He collects his Social Security benefits and lives comfortably on a hill.
Exactly. And then you start as a new guy, and then we might run into him later in the story, depending on where we end up. This thing comes with a map with 99 scenarios.
Wow.
not only that, this will be where I may need to make sure Kyle knows, because this is something I am backing. It's $100. It's a 21-pound box. However, if you add $10 to your pledge,
Well, at that point,
it comes with a book of 17 solo scenarios extra. So this guy, one guy made this game. He's a millionaire. This is a game where Tom Vassell from Dice Tower gave it a 10 out of 10. He does not do that. He even says, he goes home, he looks at all of his games he has to review, and then he goes, well, I could play another solo campaign in Gloomhaven instead, and that's what he does. It's like when the Shackers had to review games but had Zelda, they were like, oh, well, I could go review this game, but I could play more Breath of the Wild. Like, it's that big. And the cool thing that they did was they did this Kickstarter, and like the first 5 rewards are just bonuses to people who already bought the first edition. So you could spend between $1, $7, $10, $15, $25 to get upgrades to your pre-existing game. But this is going to be the ultimate version, at least now, of this game, where this guy was able to iron out all the kinks and make sure he could fix what he could fix and get this game into people's hands. It reminds me of, for anyone listening who's played the Pathfinder adventure card game, it's not a role-playing game in the sense of you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's like a board game. You're rolling, you're getting you're getting cards that are like swords that you can equip to your guy. You can get different cards every time you play. It's the kind of game for me where D&D is too much. This is like the next step before that, and I don't even necessarily want to get into D&D, but I have friends who do, so they can be the storytellers. They can read the scenarios. They can be the guys who are the NPCs when we go into town. But the one thing I did do was I texted 3 of my friends, because I believe it's 1 to 4 players, and I said, I'm getting this game.
Give me money.
It shipped to backers in August. I don't even want the money. I just want the time. I said, I don't care if it's once a week or once a month. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna make sure we pick a day to play this game, and we will. This isn't a game to pick up if you can't get games to the table, unless you kind of want to sell it maybe on eBay in a month, because you'll probably be able to get $400 for it. This is a game that is something where you have that camaraderie. That's, you sit down, you have a beer or a water or G Fuel or whatever you want, and you sit down and you have fun. Sorry, Donnie. And you have a good time, because that's what this game is going to be. And I don't have to say hopefully, because it's already out. I don't have to say hopefully this game is going to be this, because it is this game.
Yeah.
This is just a game that people couldn't get into because it's just not available, because it's that good. So I'm dying to get it. I'm dying. You can't even open half of the box. It's like Harry Potter or these other games. You can't even open these things until you're instructed to. And that gives you something to work towards, which is great. I love that. You can't see me. I'm super Italian. My hands are just darting off to the side of the screen. I want to do like the Ron Burgundy and be like, so when you play the game, what you're doing is you're just moving your guy around. So I'm really excited to get it in, and I hope Kyle pulls the trigger. I know it's a big investment, but you only got 4 days, so what are you going to do?
It's true. I think I'll probably end up getting it. The thing that is making me hesitant is that if I assume, we're supposed to get Pandemic Legacy Season 2, my guess is probably Gen Con. And if that's true, and maybe it'll push, maybe it'll be further in the fall. But I know my wife would much, much rather play Pandemic Legacy Season 2 than she would Gloomhaven. And if I'm getting both of those round about August, I know which one's going to hit the table more often and more quickly. Now, maybe Pandemic Legacy Season 2 isn't going to be Gen Con. Maybe it will be later. Maybe it'll be an SN release or something like that. But that's my only hesitation. I'll probably still end up getting it because then I have it. But I also have Seafall, which I haven't even opened yet, because I didn't realize, I should have realized, at Seafall, you need 3 players. And there's only
no.
So I was like, dang it. So now I have to find a third person or fourth and fifth person to finish that with. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll probably end up picking it up. Kevin.
We can do a Skype campaign on Seafall. I can pick
true.
that up. I'll pick that up and we can do that if you want.
Yeah.
So
are you going to
sounds
get
really yeah, no. It does sound really cool, and I know my invitation from Josh must have got lost in the mail, so we'll overlook that.
Let's work on Ticket to Ride first, and then we'll work on Gloomhaven.
Yeah, right. It was funny when you were describing it. It was designed by one guy, and it's like sounds very intricate and stuff like that. Did either of you watch Parks and Rec?
No.
Only the first few episodes.
Oh, all right. Well, later in the show, one of the guys develops a board game, and it sounds just as ridiculous and as intricate as what you were saying. And that's the first thing that came to my mind was this guy who had just that one game. No, it sounds really cool. $100. As much as I like board games, I'm not into them at that price point yet. Especially with the way you're describing it, where it's like, okay, you're marking the board, you're tearing up cards, you're retiring characters. All right. Retiring characters, no big deal. You can always bring them back. But if you're actually like tearing up cards or marking the board, there's no replay after you beat the game, because you can't, like, things are done permanently. So even if you say you find 3 other people you want to play with and you love the experience, it's gone. So for $100 in my mind, like, you're playing it through once. Your situation is good. You got, all 4 people committed to playing, and you're going to play through it. So that's the best case scenario you can have. But in my mind, it's like, man, that's really expensive for something that's like a one-time use.
So I should clarify, and I said ripping up cards, but I meant that in the context of Pandemic Legacy. In this one, they make it so you can play again.
Okay.
You are marking the board, but there's so many scenarios that they say that it doesn't affect the replay value. But I see what you're saying, because even Pandemic Legacy was $60 when it came out.
Yeah.
But now you can get it for $40 on a sale. Risk Legacy was $60. We ended up buying 2 copies because we liked it so much. So it just depends on the game. But yeah, I mean, $100. They do save it though, so that you're not tearing cards up, but there is still replayability to it, because you can put the guys back into the folders and stuff like that.
Gotcha. All right.
But it's not for everyone.
Yeah, that's true. So Kyle, I think you got another one.
Yeah, so if you are a Ticket to Ride player, you are about to have another entry point into Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride Germany. Now, this is going to be a standalone expansion per se. It is not one of the map packs that they've done in the past. This is going to be an opportunity. If you want to jump into the game, you can jump fully into the game. It'll have all the trains that you need, all the cards that you need, all will be in this box. This seems cool. Not everything you need for 2 to 5 people will be in there. The thing I find a bit interesting, though, is Ticket to Ride Markland already exists, which is a Germany map that is a standalone entry point. And some of the same mechanics as far as like picking up people is in this game too. Just supposed to be like a reimagining of Markland now, and that Markland's just going to go away, because on their website, Markland isn't there anymore. So I don't know if this is now replacing that or what the deal is. But anyway, there you go. So Ticket to Ride. If you want to start in Germany, you can now start in Germany.
Fair enough. Maybe they just did the name change because it's more recognizable if you say Ticket to Ride Germany.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Kevin, let's do this real quick.
Yeah.
I spent my Ticket to Ride, cost $100, just so you know. It's totally worth it.
I got it for $20.
No, I have the crazy big giant 10th anniversary.
Oh, do you have the collector's edition?
The board is like 3 times the size. The trains are actually like miniatures.
They're real trains.
So depending on the game, it's worth it. I think I know you were cutting your story, but I think you really cathartically you need to talk about what you wanted to talk about. So I think you should squeeze it in real quick.
Well, no, I'm talking about that. I cut the last story.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking about this because God forbid we have a place in video games without some sort of Nintendo story. So
Yeah.
USAopoly announced they're making a iconic video game franchise, Super Mario Brothers board game. They've done chess, they've done checkers and stuff in the past. This one is called Super Mario Level Up. It's a board game that features 3D experience reminiscent of the video game as far as like platformers. The website states the following about this release: join Mario and his pals as you advance them up the Mushroom Kingdom while challenging other players to gather the most coins and reach the castle at the top. Super Mario Level Up is a game for 3 to 6 players, ages 8 and up. You can see the pictures of it on the publisher's website already. Price point's going to be $20. It does seem extremely simplistic, so it's probably just like a really good family game, as we talked about Hasbro with their family games earlier. This is something that kind of anybody would be able to pick up and play. It doesn't seem like it would take a long period of time at all. But for you guys listening and not looking at it right now, basically it's a staircase that's made to look like the Mushroom Kingdom as far as like the different platforms with the castle on the top. All your iconic characters there, your Mario, Luigi, your Koopa, Waluigi, Wario, Toad, all of them. And I guess the premise is to get up the steps to the top of the castle. I made a joke earlier today when Kyle first brought this up that this already looks better than the last couple Mario Party entries, and I stand by it.
True story.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, it's not anything as deep or as intricate as what we've talked about, but this for family members and stuff like that. Like my household, this will be an easy one to pick up and play, and I think the kids will have fun. This will be something I could see Donnie playing with his kids naturally. So it seems pretty cool. They did not, I don't believe they gave a release date. Nope, nothing. It just says coming soon. So yeah, they recommend ages 8 and up for 3 to 6 players, and the $20 price point. So pretty cool there. So I think we've talked ad nauseum about board games. This might actually be our longest board game episode we've done.
It's only our second.
No, really? Have we done 3? I thought we did 3.
We did a Halloween one and this one.
We were gonna do a third and we never did it. We were gonna do the holiday buying guide one and we never did.
So yes, the bar was set low and we jumped right over it.
We did. Set the bar low and you never disappoint.
Real quick, we didn't mention in the notes, and I meant to put it in PAX Unplugged. I just want to educate people real quick.
Go right ahead.
I didn't know about it until recently, and I'm going to screw up the dates. I want to say it's November 14th to 17th, but it's right around that time period.
If only you had a computer in front of you to research these things.
I know, and I had a picture just I referenced.
Hold on, let's get all Fluxtapose for a minute. Hold on.
Can you type real loud?
Try.
Well, for all the board gamers out there, it is the same week as Board Game Geek Con. I'm pretty certain it's the exact same dates.
It's November 17th to the 19th.
There we go. Which is good for me because I'm not going to BGG Con, which means maybe tickets won't sell out on May 3rd. So tickets go until May 3rd. It's my wife's birthday, so I won't forget that.
You hope.
And she's up for going, which is another huge thing. And she's up for taking the baby if we have to, which is even bigger. It's in Philly. We can drive there. It's only a 4-hour drive for us. So it's PAX minus the video games. So I've been to many a PAX East, and they've always had a dedicated board game spot that has gotten smaller and smaller every year. So I'm excited because this just means more developers. At PAX East, we played games that I now own, like Castellan, which wasn't even released. We wanted to go buy it right after we played it, and they were like, yeah, this isn't for sale yet. You guys are like our beta testers. So if you want to get out there and learn games from developers, talk to them, and maybe even change the way a game is developed, get out there, play. I tell you this with the worry that you might buy my ticket. It's okay. Get out there and go. Get out there and get involved. Maybe even go for a day. Even if you're in the Philly area and you don't think board games are your thing, just go for a day. Go for a Friday or a Saturday or Sunday. Check it out. See what you think. Because you'll be able to play with the people that are the best to tell you how to play their game. And if I can be there, you bet your butts, hashtag, I will be reporting for PSVG or PSVG. on what's going on and what we think looks great. But you can use that as my plug section.
There you go.
Josh Bones on Twitter. And that's it for me.
So yeah, full details if you want to know more, you can go to unplug.packsite.com. It's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Pennsylvania Convention Center. That's in West Philadelphia. Avoid the playgrounds. I heard they're a little rough. November 17th to the 19th. Registration is closed for anybody that's trying to get in for as far as like booth space. But you can get the tickets as soon as they go up on sale. So you get more info there. So check that out. So yeah, so Josh did his plugs then. Kyle, where can people find you or anything else you'd like to plug?
You can follow me on Twitter or become my friend on PSN at Cyclocross, CYCOCROSS. So check that out. Talk to me there. Become my friend. Let's play video games. Let's talk about board games. And let's be cool to each other.
Be excellent to one another. So I love that Josh gets my references. So yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know. Give us some feedback if you like these episodes. If not, then we're just wasting our time, and you can subject you to another episode talking about Nintendo Switch or Scorpio if you'd like. So just let us know. Send us an email. Once again, you can email us anytime, podcast@playsomevideogames.com. Tweet at us at PSVG. You can find me at PSVGKevin. Like and follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/playsomevideogames. Keep an eye on that, especially if you want to stay in the know for our Mario Kart 8 tournaments we'll be doing, as we mentioned earlier, with the Indie Podcast Network that we're kind of a part of here. Check us out, youtube.com/playsomevideogames if you're not watching right now as we're doing this. And, of course, the website, playsomevideogames.com. Check it out, the reviews, news. E3 is coming up close, so that's something we have to gear up for. If you were a listener or a follower back then, you know we take it very seriously and dedicate a lot of time and effort into that, and we're hoping this year is even bigger and better. More to come on that in the next couple weeks as well. But yeah, if you're interested, like we mentioned earlier, bossboxes.store to get different accessories for your PS4, Xbox One, or PC. You can get some good boxes. Right now, if you're a PC gamer, I recommend getting the PC box. It's on sale, I think, for only $16 and only like $5 shipping and handling. Plus, you can get the 10% off by using our code PSVG. And you can get that box coming to you straight from the UK. They do international shipping, but yes, it's still just that cheap. So, yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. Let us know once again, but more importantly, never stop board gaming.